maybe provide an appeals procedure within the statute, but also my reading of that statute, since it is deliberately provided for that this is a quasi-judicial institution and that the provisions of Cap 87 will apply to the disciplinary procedure, it appears to me as a lawyer that you would then appeal to the court if you are dissatisfied with the decision of the disciplinary committee. I just want you to clarify which route you think would be very helpful, and also one that speaks to rights of the teachers who are your members, if they should be accorded an opportunity to appeal within the structure of the law itself, or if they can go to court as an appeal. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Mambo.
Yeah, thank you. I think mine is on the stakeholder consultations, because if the stakeholder consultation is holistic, it reduces a lot of tension. So the number of civil society bodies, organizations that claim that they were not consulted widely, especially you are aware that the CPD, the budget for CTPD from government is very limited. It comes from the civil society. One good example is ZOX. You know how ZOX has been very instrumental in the community schools. I think they've done 90% of CPD in community schools. We have UNESCO and many others. I just want to be sure on the list of stakeholders where the civil society that are also now going to be registered to provide CPD, were they widely consulted? And I'm also worried that the local government did not make any input when early childhood education is devolving to the local authorities. So doesn't this, if these were not consulted, doesn't it leave some level of emptiness in the consultative process? Just your comment on that one.
Honorable members, Honorable Mutu, another. You may go ahead and answer this, then we have another set of questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. We take note of the questions. They help us to see which areas are in it. On the disciplinary issues and the appeals, allow me, Chair, to ask our legal officer, Mr. Mumbi, to respond to that one. Can maybe respond to that one, then we'll take the other questions.
Thank you, honorable members. On the issue of discipline, we are saying the teaching council will deal with matters of professionalism. We are not taking away powers from the teaching service commission. No, they have their own code also, and we have our code. So we want to implement the code of ethics, which is basically on professional issues, professional matters. Okay. So in the current act, which we want to repeal, Section 47 gave powers to the Teaching Service Commission to deal with teachers in the private sector, in the public sector, and gave the teaching council teachers in the public sector. But there was a problem. You know, there was a problem. One, I'll give an example. In 2021, we had almost 60 teachers that were involved in exam malpractice. We wanted to discipline them as TCZ, but we were challenged that we had no jurisdiction over teachers in the public sector, and unions even went as far as the Attorney General to get a legal opinion, and the Attorney General agreed with them. So up to now, those teachers were not charged, and they went scot-free. Okay. So what we are saying is issues of professional matters, let them be dealt with by the Teaching Council of Zambia.
So the Teaching Service Commission, what punishment, which areas does it punish teachers on? I just want to know. The Teaching Service Commission, which areas does it punish teachers on?
I think on contractual obligations, On contractual obligations, the Teaching Service Commission would punish the teachers. But issues of professional matters, it should be the Teaching Council to punish the teachers.
So you're telling me that throughout professional matters, we are not being disciplined in the country?
Well, they were, but then by the Teaching Service Commission, but they were not very efficient. They were not very efficient in doing that. That is why I gave an example of those that were involved in exam malpractice in 2021. They were not punished. Nothing was done to them.
Some teachers I saw who were punished also.
Yes, but not as much as we would have loved, these disciplinary actions to be taken against teachers. There was rampant examination malpractice. Rampant examination malpractice, but the Teaching Service Commission was limited, couldn't handle all these, cases, and the Teaching Council, I think we're up to the task.
Okay.
Maybe can you maybe help us to appreciate the direction we are going? We agree that we want to go this direction, but can you help us to appreciate what was limiting the Teaching Council to effect discipline? Was it the structure of the council? Was it the law that made them to administer discipline? Was it their capacities? Give us that understanding versus what the law wants to give you, so that we appreciate the difference.
Well, what we are saying is the Teaching Council, according to the current law, has no jurisdiction over teachers in the public sector. So the Teaching Council could not discipline those teachers. In fact, even on matters of when you issue a license, you want to withdraw a license, but those teachers have to be heard, for you to withdraw a license from them. But which organ will hear them? They will not appear before the disciplinary committee of the council because they're in the public sector. Okay, so that is where we were tied. We couldn't do that. So we are saying, can we be given power to deal with matters of professionalism as council, so that even teachers in the public sector could appear before the disciplinary committee of the council on matters of professional misconduct.
Did you no, I know the answer, but you gave licenses, teaching license to the public teachers, isn't it? Yes. But there were cases also where there was one teacher who stopped work because he withdrew the teaching license from a public school. The license was withdrawn on the basis that the certificate something. I used to know this teacher somewhere there in Chiseke. So I met her. How is this? No, I was stopped. I am no longer a teacher now. She was first in Kalomo, then went to Chiseke. So why? The Teaching Council withdrew the license, or whether you didn't renew it because one of our certificates something, I don't know.
Chair, I think is to understand the process. I think that should be a group. When we started as a council, when we were doing registration, there are a number of those teachers that were already working, but when they applied to be registered, some of their qualifications were found fraudulent. So that is a list that was handed over to the Teaching Service Commission to act. Those are maybe the people that actually is a case that you're talking about. Because for one to lose a license, they must go through the disciplinary committee, and the disciplinary committee must sanction and say, this license you need to cancel it, you need to remove it. But the teacher must be heard. So the challenge we had, like he was saying, is for the public teacher, he must be heard. But then the council cannot hear this one because he's under a different discipline system. We have to wait for that discipline system to complete. That's when it comes to the council, and the council would withdraw the certificate. I think that is the current situation. So the Act is seeking to say, if it's a professional misconduct case, it must be completely handled by the council. And the definition of professional misconduct is in the Act. It has stipulated that either this one breaks the code of ethics, or he has been found guilty under another written law, or this person has presented fraudulent qualifications, or this person is encouraged another person to break. So in the Act, there is a definition of professional misconduct.
And
that is what we are seeking. That is what we are seeking.
So what is that definition?
It stipulates that the professional misconduct, a teacher shall be called to be professional misconduct when he has done the following. Maybe I could read that.
Just read them.
Okay. It's a bill, yeah. Even in the bill, 39 in the bill, a teacher commits professional misconduct if that teacher contravenes the provisions of this Act, unlawfully discloses or uses the teacher's advantage or any information acquired to practice with the teacher, engages in a conduct that is dishonest, fraudulent, or deceitful, engages in any conduct that is prejudicial to the teaching profession or is likely to bring it into disrepute, or breaches the code of ethics and encourages another teacher to breach or disregards the code. That's professional misconduct.
Yeah, but it covers, and that's why I asked you to read. That is just the same like what the Teaching Service Commission used to do. What we are avoiding here is a duplication. That's where we are here. We are not saying you're not capable, what. We don't want two institutions doing the same thing. Because the Act for the Teaching Service Commission is still active. So we don't want whereby, now you imagine your role now, a teaching council of giving license, another body is also giving what? Licenses of the same. There's total confusion. And that's why we want clarity here. We are saying, because those code of ethics, we all learned them, and they were under the teaching service. All that things were already there. That's what the Teaching Service Commission was doing. And their Act, which authorizes them to do that, is still active. Then we make another Act. So there's duplication there.
Chair, there's a line. The line is that the Teaching Service Commission is dealing with employment matters, like I said, contractual issues of the teacher, which is not a jurisdiction of the council. The jurisdiction of the council is the license it has given out to this person. Is the abiding professional issues. So in this case, that is, I think, the line that is the teaching profession is dealing, the Teaching Service Commission is dealing with employment matters.
Yeah, but you see, let's be factual here. It was employing and at the same time firing. So the Act gave them power. Look, the teachers would go through at a school, they are trialed, let's say maybe there's canon knowledge. They pass through the trial at school level with a 3-man committee. Then there's also the union in that 3-man committee. From there it goes to DEBS. From DEBS is forwarded to the provincial headquarters. The teaching service comes, looks at all the deliberations that went through. Then they either fire or retain that teacher. So they had that power. And in your disciplinary, I want to get it clear from you. Would you have the right to fire a teacher?
Okay.
Under the current bill we're making now, are you going to have the powers to fire a teacher?
Okay. Chair, we do not have the powers to fire. Like acting registrar has indicated, on the part of teaching council, our concern is the professional nature of the teacher. We have a teacher who is registered by the council, who is licensed by the council, and we have a code of ethics which was developed in 2018, which is statutory instrument number 1 of 2018, which is a code of ethics for teachers, which we are enforcing as Teaching Council of Zambia. So from our end, if a teacher is in a breach of any provision of the code or the Act, the sanctions that we want to seek through this Act is to summon this teacher to appear before our disciplinary committee, so that depending on the outcome, we can either suspend or cancel the license or caution the teacher on the matter. So we do not have the authority to fire, but we have the authority to cancel the certificate, we have the authority to suspend or to caution a teacher on matters that are related to the professional nature of the teaching profession. Meanwhile, on teaching service, like Dr. Mara has indicated, their occupation is more to do with a contractual obligation of the teacher who is employed by the government. So under that contractual obligation, you realize that a teacher has got certain rules that he has to adhere to. And if he's in breach of those, the teaching service will definitely move in and sanction that teacher. But within their sanction, it does not cater for cancellation of either the registration certificate or practicing certificate. I submit, Chair.
Yeah, but there is a problem now. You fire, which is what we have. You fire the teaching council, the teaching commission fires a teacher. You have not withdrawn the license. So this teacher will go and work somewhere else. And this is why we are trying to, there must be, those who are talking code of ethics, I learnt them. I'm a practicing teacher, I taught. Yeah. The teaching includes all those things you have mentioned there. The teaching commission, service commission, when they are looking at that, it's the same things. So now you have a situation where the teaching service commission fires a teacher, the teaching council has not withdrawn the license.
In fact, Chair, that is what is prevailing currently. We've come across several cases as we monitor compliance in schools where a teacher was fired from the public service by Teaching Service Commission, but the teaching council does not have information pertaining to that teacher. You realize that the teacher finds himself in the private sector. So by vesting the council with powers to discipline this teacher from our end, we shall definitely curtail on such incidences. Because currently we even receive complaints from the public concerning teachers that are in public service, but you realize that we do not have jurisdiction currently to deal with such teachers. So the concern that you've raised will be addressed if you allow, if this committee chair allows us to undertake disciplinary action on teachers. I submit, Chair.
Honorable Tsanga, you had your hand up.
Chair, I think you just explained what I was going to ask a question.
Okay,
Yes.
any questions? Honorable
Maybe mine is, so when you look at the essential exams, in your understanding you are saying these exams will, I was thinking these exams will test the ethics. But I'm seeing that there is also the issue of pedagogical readiness. I was thinking the pedagogical readiness is determined by the teaching commission at the point of employing. Then you will measure the professional ethical readiness. And it also relates to the question that Honorable asked. Can you just give me an example of, I'm also a teacher, but I never went through any license exam. So how shall that exam look like? What is it going to be asking? What answers, what type of questions would you want to get out of that exam so that it makes sense?
Thank you, Chair, for that question. I think on the licentiate exam, like we said, it will basically look at the professional competences of the teacher. When one has gone to college, the exams check on the theory and practice. Yeah, they have the theory and the practice. So the licentiate exam is not looking at the theory of practice, it's looking at the professional competences. Now in the Zambian context, the professional competences are stipulated in the Standards of Practice, which is a ministry document launched in 2019, revised in 2024. This year there's another document that has been developed, which is called the Teacher Development Index, which stipulates the competences. There they say, if a teacher is coming in, he must have these professional competences. So there are these already stipulated competences which the exam is going to focus on. How is it going to be done? There will be a committee. There will be a committee to manage those exams. And that committee will consist of experts that will help in managing the exam. How the exam items done? You bring up people from various expertise to generate those items. Yeah, that is after. That may not be exactly in the state, but those will be in the MSIs. It details in the SIs. The committee established for the management of that exam, the structure of the exam. The structure of the exam will be more a professional paper. Like one area will be professional knowledge and ethics. Yeah, where you look at the law, the policies of the ministry. This person is coming in. Is he aware of these things? Yeah, he has come from college. Does he have professional knowledge, ethics, and things like that? That is how the exam may move. Yeah. So there'll be several areas, categories.
So I'm just wondering this phrase which says you will be measuring the pedagogical readiness of the aspirant. I think this is the English which has just confused me, because when you talk of pedagogy, you are talking about the soft teaching skills. I think that's my understanding of pedagogy. So I don't know whether it is sitting very well here. From what you're explaining now is what I was conceptualizing, that you'll be looking at someone understanding the police space, what are the do's and the don'ts, right? Yes. So you will not be taking someone back to the classroom to go and understand the teaching and the practice. You'll be looking at the ethics. So I don't know whether this phrase here is sitting very well, or you feel it should still sit.
I think it should still sit, because the pedagogy is a component of that exam. Yeah, the exam will have components. Yeah, it will have components. So pedagogy will just be part of that exam. And I think the other thing that has necessitated is that when we are accrediting colleges and the learning program, it was easier, because the product that was coming from the colleges, we had an influence in it. But with the consequential changes, that means we have no influence on the training of the teacher.
How are you going to monitor these exams? Are they going to be written online, or there will be examination centers? Just take us through.
Okay.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate that honorable members have been teachers, and they are teachers in essence. I want to say that perhaps at the time when we went to college, mostly we didn't even have private colleges being so much in existence, and therefore the amount of oversight on the colleges that were public was very, very strong. Now, upon the arrival of the public-private partnership, when we allowed colleges, people to establish colleges to support the efforts of government, there was a proliferation of colleges that were established by various people, some without any knowledge in education, but they are running them as a business. We did have an opportunity to have oversight on the colleges when we were accrediting them the few years that we did, and we saw the mix of quality in terms of training, and even training rooms, as well as personnel that we are training our teachers. And indeed, we did suspend some colleges, and some colleges actually were just simply closed because they did not meet up the standards. But ever since the colleges were given to Higher Education Authority, it meant that as Teaching Council of Zambia, who are going to register these teachers coming from the same colleges, may not even know what they are actually learning at all, seriously speaking. And then we have had the instances, we live in the communities and we live with people that have gone to college. We have had instances where we have gone into schools and the head teachers of these schools have complained that the quality of some of the graduates from some colleges leaves much to be desired. And when I was in DEBS, I did receive from time to time, some students who are not even able to write a lesson plan properly. And a plan is the basis for which you really deliver quite efficiently. And so the matter of having to test these teachers who are coming to register for us is to gauge the basic skills that are needed and up to that are needed in the classroom, to avoid the situation where you get into the classroom and then it becomes the task of the head teachers and the school to start retraining these teachers almost from scratch. We've had those issues happening. And when they have been deployed in schools, we have found that in most instances, we have had situations where head teachers have complained, as I've already said, and these teachers are not able to learn at all.
Yes, but we want to know how.
So what we want to do
we are
is
running out of time.
Okay, what we want to do, Honorable Chair, is that we want to just assess the aptitudes of our teachers who are coming in to be registered, so that we know that these people have not lost touch with what they had learned at the college.
Yes, but I've said, how are you going to, are the exams going to be online in your centers? Are you going to provide them anytime, or it will be quarterly? That's the information we want to know.
Okay. All right. We wish to have them take about 3 attempts, so that if they fail one, they are given time to go through the items. They can still manage to attempt those. I don't know what the duration is. 3 times in a year, isn't it?
I asked a question. Are you going to give them online, or there will be centers where they will sit? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, Chair, there have been modalities we are thinking in that line. Much of the guidelines and the details will come in the guideline, the details. But the preliminary thoughts are that this could be done online. I think Nigeria does the same. They do them online. And that allows the people to get into that. Reduces on the cost of printing paper and all those things. So the thoughts, the details will come into the guidelines, but the thoughts that they could be done online, and then the number of attempts maybe as we sit with stakeholders in the guidelines, we can decide how many number of attempts they will do. Those are details that will come in the guidelines.
Honorable Samzingle, then Honorable Banda.
Chair, I want to find out from what has been given. Before you are transformed into a professional body, you were accrediting training providers, and you were certifying them they are doing well. Now, this function has moved to HEA. So now you are casting aspirations on the functions that you are doing, that now there's no teaching that is happening. Teachers that come there, maybe they are not well trained, so they must go through this exam because you have no faith, in other words, in the HEA, which is now regretting exactly what you were regretting. Can you be clear really that this licentiate is coming because they are private institutions that you are not comfortable with the product that they produce? Because the law of regression, in as far as HEA, as long as they are registered, they've met the minimum training standards. The way they met your minimum training standards. Now, the justification is that you are bringing licentiate because there's mushrooming of these private. Are they not regretted? They are regretted because you are regretting them. So the justification for licentiate is a means to bridge the gap where those they have learned and where you assume they have not learned. Would that be a real justification? Because what we do know, we had professional bodies that came through here, and we're asking, what is the essence of this? They are saying this is an entry for the purpose of getting a practicing license. I want really your comment on that.
Thank you, Chairperson. I think mine is also right on your question, and also Honorable Simzingilis, because when you're telling us about the content of the exams, they told us about ethics and also policies. But now we understand that the main reason is because they've been getting half-baked students. If they are getting half-baked students, then why are we going to test them on ethics and policies? Why not just test them on academic? so that we get the right students. It looks like maybe the content of this exam, Honorable Chairperson, needs to be really clarified here so that we know what are we looking for. Are we looking at just the ethics and policies, or are we really looking at academic background or qualification of teachers that are coming from other universities? Thank you, Chairperson.
Yeah, and then you see, this is a license exam, because the Ministry of Health, they offer even practical exams. They have 3 centers. This is a very important exam which can stop somebody from starting work. You put it online, I can have my brother doing it online. For me, I can read the code of ethics within a short period. Even when I'm a bad teacher, I can still go through. It can also stop a good teacher, because maybe he hasn't gone through the code of ethics, and then he doesn't go. So basically, I think there are serious concerns as to what, and that's why we insisted on knowing how this license exam will be. And you can't come here, you are not yet ready. You are making a law, you don't even know how the exam will be. And you are dealing with a number of teachers here. Then anyway, on that one, maybe we end here. We come to the period of the license.
Could I just respond to that?
Yeah, you can
Chair?
comment, because we are running out of time. Yeah,
Yeah, Chair, the licensure exam is a quality assurance exam at the entry of a teacher, that he has professional competences that this teacher that is coming in. That's the whole essence. It's a good practice. It's one of the best practices in the professional areas. I think that's why you find each profession has a form of a licensure exam for the entrance into the profession. It's not really because of the mushrooming. That's just a small contributing factor. That's just a small contributing factor. The major is the entrance into the profession. Do they have the professional competences that are needed as stipulated in the policies of the government?
Let's come to the license now, the period of the license. You say the license should be renewed after 1 year, but a lot of witnesses said it should be 3 years. But then from my point of view, I have a question. Why should the license payment pass through PEMIC? Are you going to charge so much? Should a teacher save for the whole year to buy a license? How much are you going to charge for a license?
Thank you, Chair. I'll ask the Director of Finance to answer that one.
Chair, thank you so much. The period of the license currently is at 3 years, and like it has already been alluded to in the document, we have had issues with our financial presentations.
How much were you charging?
We charge for a secondary school teacher pays 765 kwacha for 3 years. So bringing it to annual, there's no further or additional cost to the teachers. It will still be the same 765, we divide it by 3. Because currently when we receive this 765 from a secondary school teacher, in our financial reporting, we have to apportion it for 3 years. But then you may find that teachers may remain non-compliant in year 1, but then we have to prepare our financial statements, which should be audited by Auditor General's office. So it has given us a lot of problems in terms of accountability and just presentation of our financial reporting. So the need that we have requested that they reduce to, or we bring it to annual payments, is just in so much so that it helps us to present our financial statements better, so that we don't have these challenges where fees spread across 3 years. You have to account for a portion of what you have received this year in year 1, and a portion in year 2, and the other portion in the final year. So we are having a challenge where teachers may remain non-compliant in year 1 and come to comply in year 2. So accountability has been a challenge. Bringing it to 1 year, there's no additional cost whatsoever. It is the same 3-year amount, then we divide it by 3. Coming to the...
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yes, coming to the issue of PEMIC deductions, it is simply the same 765 divided by 36 months, because 3 years has 36 months. The monthly payment will still remain the same. even with the payroll deductions. The teachers themselves did request that we could maybe provide for a more flexible way of payment. Instead of them coming forward to pay an upfront payment of 765, they pay monthly deductions, as and when the deductions start running, the teachers are given the licenses. They access their licenses online, Chair.
Honorable Mewatu.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. The submission here shows automated license renewal, but the bill is saying a person who intends to offer, a person who intends to, yeah, I missed that one. Okay, the bill, I will find it. It is saying that who intends to apply. It's not showing that it is automatic. So there's your submission and the bill, they are not matching. Secondly, Honorable Chair, how can renewal be automatic? Because it's someone's intention. He has to decide. He or she has to decide to apply or not to apply. So how can it be automatic?
Thank you, Chair. I think on the automatic, it means the what you call the automation part of the payment. It's not like when it ends, automatic. It's the automation part of the payments. The automation part of the payment is when the flexible modes of payment. Either one can pay cash, and one can say, me, I don't want to pay cash. I want to go the payroll mode. So if I go the payroll mode, then when it selects the payroll mode, then the system is automated. That's what it means in that line. It's automated to process the licensure payment through a PEMIC mode. Because currently that PEMIC mode is more like an administrative arrangement, and so we needed to find a way of sitting it down so that these flexible payment modes are available.
Okay, Honorable Sanga.
Thank you, Chair. Firstly, my question on the appeals, I think, has not been dealt with with the disciplinary committee proceedings. I wanted to find out, because some people suggested that we need to provide for an appeals process before somebody can take the matter up to court. So I am still waiting for that answer. But I was also taking issue with the issue of these license fees. I'll use an example of the legal profession where I come from. We have a scenario where those who serve government are exempted from paying license fees by the practice law before the courts of law, on the understanding that it's a sacrifice to serve the government or to provide legal services through serving government. And practitioners who are mainly in the private practice are the ones who pay renewal license fees. But even those license fees have been graduated depending on how long somebody has practiced law. If you are in the band of 1 to 5 years, is an amount that is payable by you, and if you are between 5 to 10 years at another band, etc., etc. I was just thinking, 750 looks too small, but the majority of your members are government servants. What was the motivation of putting up a figure that is uniform without taking into account the individual positions of those who are members of the teaching profession? Thank you, Chair.
You can note that question, Honorable Mzingiri.
Yeah. Mine is on the bill. The bill says accredit continuing professional development programs providers for teachers. Then J says promote and provide continuous professional development to teachers. Does this mean teaching council will accredit providers and at the same time provide professional development, be the provider, even when you are the accreditor of those that will provide the CPD? The second aspect of that is my observation that will Ministry of Education be one of those that you will accredit, knowing very well TESS is involved in CPD, like this new curriculum. Right now they are busy providing professional CPDs to the teachers to align with the new curriculum.
We have run out of time, but you can answer them briefly. Your mic? All right.
Let me start responding to the question raised by Honorable Chisanga on the appeal process.
Yes, please.
Yes, on the appeal process, it's true that we omitted it in the bill, and I think in the conversation that we had with the legal officer, we did indicate that we engage justice, that we need to provide for it in the bill. Sure. And then on the part of uniform fees, again raised by Honorable Chisanga, before these fees were determined, sometime I think in 2016, 2015, we engaged our key stakeholders, the teacher unions and other stakeholders. So these were fees that were agreed upon by our key stakeholders.
But there were a lot of complaints that they were very high. Okay, yeah, you can answer these other questions. Yes. Yeah, the last question.
Oh, she's answering?
Yeah, no. But no, just let him say the last question, so because we're running out of time. So that, yeah.
So there was a question which was asked by a witness.
Yeah.
And I think that was Zambia Open Community Schools. This bill is restricting only to trained teachers, right? Both theory and practice. So, and you are aware that in the Education Act, there is recognition of community schools. So how are we going to deal with those untrained teachers, in inverted commas, who are found in community schools? Are they going to be deemed illegal because they will be teaching our children without any level of certification? Maybe you might attempt to also just help us to appreciate what this context will mean. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I wanted just to add on to the uniform figures that it's not uniform for all teachers. The amounts are per category of teachers. We have primary school teachers who pay 510, ECE teachers pay 510, primary school teachers pay 640.
But the uniform, he meant private and government schools.
Oh, okay.
In the same category, we charge them the same.
Yes, in the same category, we charge them the same.
Yeah.
All right, Chair. Thank you. I submit.
So you were saying, why don't you give maybe the public school teachers or some of them a discount? I think that's what he was trying to say.
I think, Chair, the other background is that the way this has been crafted is before one is employed, he must be registered, and then you must have a license. At that time, you are not sure whether it's going to go in the public or the private sector. It's couched in such a way that before one finds employment, then he needs to get a license. So what we were guided was, okay, do this. When they find their jobs, that's when they can find some of these things. Then on the CPD is that there are three aspects that have been coming out. Is that accreditation, promotion and provision of CPD. In terms of accreditation, it's accrediting CPD program providers. Now, the Ministry of Education is not a CPD program provider. It provides policy direction, it provides guidance and manages. So the Ministry of Education is not part of the program providers. It doesn't fit there, but that fits for what in the layman's language you could say CPD service providers. Those are the ones that the Act is talking about. That these are the ones which we are going to accredit.
Give an example.
For example, you can say World Vision is a CPD service provider. VVOB is a CPD service provider. Those are CPD service providers. So it's those programs which they are providing which will be accredited by the council. And then, hello?
Where it says provide.
Yeah. So that was I was talking about accreditation. Provision. This provision in the bill is allowing the council to provide certain programs that may be mandatory, not the whole of CPD. For example, currently we have what you call CPD online programs that are targeting mainly maybe administrators only. That may be mandatory. So what this has been coached out that those service providers will accredit, but the council can also provide certain programs, which is few. I think these are mandatory to fit certain gap. And the council can also promote. So that's why the three are coming out in that manner.
Yes, Honorable Myoto.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Right now, the previous, okay, let me say from January, there has been orientations of these teachers. You go into the schools were at no teachers. The teachers were at zonal centers. So tell me, who was running those courses? Was it not the teacher services in the Ministry of Education? Because they were gathering at zonal centers. First, they would invite the zonal, whatever they called, coordinators to the district or the province. From province, then they will go back to those zonal centers and train other teachers. So who there then should subscribe to Teaching Council?
That's what you meant when you say the ministry. The ministry has a structure for CPD. And through that structure which they have for in-service, they provide and they manage CPD. So the one you have talked about is that which is within the ministry. So when those have met in those sonograph centers and they've done the activities, those activities are supposed to be recognized, given CPD credit points for the renewal of their licenses. So when they've done that, those activities are submitted to the council for awarding of credit points or those activities that they've done. So that is the aspect of the council. The council enforces, the ministry manages and provides.
Yeah, we are running out of time.
Sorry,
yes.
The challenge we have, I think this schema is, can I just finish one?
Okay,
Can I just...
I'll give you both
just
chance, just be brief. Okay, start with Honorable Muzingiri so that we then Honorable Myoto.
Chair, are we not bringing in duplication of which, like we are talking about in discipline between yourselves and Teaching Council? Here is, you are the owners. Are we saying Teveta is an authority who accredits Evelyn Horn, who also Teveta will be providing the same courses that Evelyn Horn is? Don't you think many of those that have come, they've even crafted that Teaching Council must move away from providing, because you can't be a provider at the same time you accredit. There's basically conflict of interest. A lot of witnesses have advised that I think the issue of you providing, can you run away, so that now you become a quality assurance body for those that will be accredited to provide CPD. But if you become a participant, how are you going to work on that?
Honorable Myoto, last one.
Thank you. That party he has mentioned, the other parties, the bill does not state that government is excluded from being part of the provider. Secondly, on the functions of the council, H, it says register student teachers. These student teachers are teachers at the colleges. What is the interest of the council in these teachers who are at the colleges? The colleges are manned by the Higher Education Authority. How does Teaching Council find itself in these colleges? Thank you.
Yeah, and still on that one, we are going to write in the act that anyone who gets a license must write an exam. Are you telling me these students have to write a licensing exam before they go for teaching practice?
Thank you, Chair. I think those are, in any situation, there are certain exemptions due to the conditions in which we are. This is a student who is already in college. he does not need to write a licensure exam.
No, but we're talking about the law, not what you're talking about. The law here will stipulate that for anyone to get a license, must pass through a licensure what? Exam. And so my question is, are you going to give license exams to these students as well? So you shouldn't put the students in.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, let him
And I wanted to ask also, what service do you give? So if they are going to pass to a license exam and they fail this exam, are you going to stop them from doing the teaching practice? These are not workers, they are simply doing the practice, which you can do in a classroom, you put even at college. Why do you want to charge them in the first place?
Chair, one, the students will not be charged. Two is that the registration of students is for the purposes of accountability in their practice when they get to the schools where the Teaching Profession Act has jurisdiction to allow them to do the practical. But
they've been charging them currently. They've been paying.
Yeah, it's a current situation, but when the bill passes, that will change.
I think, why don't you remove these from this whole process of the license? Why should they be succumbed to such?
Okay.
I don't know. You register them, what if they don't graduate, they fail? You will be registering people who may not in existence. So really for me, I think you shouldn't, I don't know, that's my thinking. You shouldn't succumb them to these licenses. You shouldn't.
Yeah, Chair, what you've observed is true. The students are not succumbed to writing anything when they are doing their practicum. It's just when they come for the practicum that we would take note of them and register them on no cost at all. The purpose was to account for students, because the student data is also helpful when you are doing projections or when you're also advising. One of our roles is to advise.
See, I think for me, this one, like I'm saying, why should you only register a student when he's going for teaching practice? You can still register them when they start the course, if that is your interest. So what's the correlation with the practice? And then initially, you used to charge them. So I'm not very comfortable. This doesn't need to come into the law.
Oh, yes. We'll take a note, Chair.
So I think we've come to an end, but there are just a few things I wanted to highlight to you. Are you with me as we come to an end? What other witnesses submitted? Number F, which is investigate cases of professional misconduct under this act. A number of witnesses said this was as a conflict with the Teaching Service Commission, and some said actually should be removed. Then accredit, F, promote and provide continuing professional development of teachers. They said conflict with the Ministry of Education here, because it does, that is a department, the Ministry of Education, that does that. Then M, promote, protect, advance professional interest of teachers. They say teachers union, teaching service, whatever commission already does this as a duplicate. And then on the license, most submitted that it should go to 3 years. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, so these are some of the things that we thought you should do. Pardon?
What about the major?
Major?
And
yes, there was also suggestion that you should merge with the Teaching Service Commission. Because, and why were they suggesting major? Because of getting the duplication we're talking about. I think our role here, Teaching Council, is that we want to give you the mandate that actually you will be able to carry. We don't want any duplication, confusion. We don't want to repeat the same laws that are elsewhere, so that we can operate independently. That's our role here. And that's why we're asking so many of these questions. We also want to make sure that the license exam that you are going to, but here there was benchmarking by Nkrumah. And out of 5 countries they provided, only one was giving licenses. UK doesn't, Ghana doesn't. There are a number of countries, only one, Zimbabwe. So you wouldn't have to think, you're taking it very lightly because you're not yet prepared on how the exams will be done. You really have to think about it because it's a large group of clientele you have. And the teachers have been leaving from Shangombo, like from Kalomu, from Kandazov. They leave the classroom to come and do the teaching license issues. They are there in town leaving classes. And so now they'll be doing this every year. They leave classes, some schools have only one qualified teacher. Then he leaves because there's no network, there's nothing. He comes to town, to center, leaves the whole school. All the mechanisms of digitalization really need to be realistic. And the test you give should be authentic to assess what it needs to assess. Not giving a test for the sake of a test. I think so. Teaching Council, thank you very much for coming. I thought I should comment on that. And now that we have come to an end of this interaction, I now remove Cap 12. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Honorables.
My eParliament mobile application. First, download the app on either Play Store or App Store and install. After installation, open the app. Step 1. Register your personal information, that's your names, gender, NRC and date of birth. Step 2. Add your contact